In today's video, yet another edition of the weekly condo market update for the city of Toronto and the GTA. Let's get to it. Hello everyone, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Remax Realtron Realty Inc. As always, back with another video for you guys here today. You can find my contact information in the description box with regards to my Gmail, my Instagram, and my office. Feel free to get in touch with me with any questions you may have arising from topics discussed in this video, topics discussed in other videos, or if you have any general inquiries with regards to the Toronto/GTA real estate market. Lastly, feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Your support in that regard is greatly appreciated, but obviously, as I always say, you're not obliged to do so whatsoever. Anyways, let's get to the point of today's video, which is another weekly condo market update where I go through the latest happenings, market trends, news stories that have to do with the Toronto/GTA real estate market. And something interesting I want to discuss in today's video is bidding wars, because more and more that I'm working with condominium buyers and on the selling side as well, condominium sellers all over the GTA, and I really mean all over. Richmond Hill, Vaughan, in certain cases Mississauga recently, and of course, as always, North York, Midtown, and Downtown Toronto. What I am seeing is bidding dates and offer dates. Now, quickly, for those who do not know what a bidding war is, or a bidding situation, or an offer date, all these terms may be a little alien to you. I doubt it. If you're a regular viewer of my channel, it means you're a real estate enthusiast, so I would assume you would know that, but in case you don't, a quick explanation here is a bidding situation or a multiple offer situation is a strategy used by the selling side wherein they list a property well below market value. Let's say the market value of a given property is $650. They list it at $499 or $599, depending on how hot the market is. But the point here is below market value to induce multiple buyers to compete against one another to bid up the price, hoping that not only do you get what fair market value is for your property, but probably above what fair market value is for you to overpay as a buyer, for the seller to leverage buyers' offers against one another, for them to overpay above market value, and usually with firm offers, no conditions, because buyers to differentiate themselves amongst a pool of 8 to 7 to 6 to 5, depends on how hot the market is, but a pool of a large number of buyers to differentiate themselves, kind of remove the conditions that protect themselves. And they do that in conjunction of touching the price sometimes or not. The point here is, as you can deduce, bidding wars are most successful in a very hot market where a certain commodity is scarce and in demand, meaning the producing side of things, in this case the sellers, the selling side of things have the leverage. So in a very hot seller's market, that is where bidding wars are very much so successful. Now, of course, we know on the freehold side of things, bidding wars are rampant right now. They're quite ubiquitous amongst all listings. And it turns out actually the truth is not that simple. And to touch on the detached market and the freehold market, look, right now I'm working with two buyers, one of which is looking in Vaughan, right? And their budget is around 1.1 to 1.3.5 to 1.4. That's what their budget is. And then I'm working with another buyer that's looking all the way up in Keswick, Georgina, Barrie. Basically, they've taken their search far north. And their budget is far less. Their budget is maximum $650, $680. And what I'm seeing on a daily basis is that actually on the higher price points in the city of Vaughan and Richmond Hill, there is less bidding occurring out of all the available listings. Of course, may still make up a large portion of all the available listings, but once again, there's almost an equal amount of listings around the 1.3 to 1.4 million price point in certain pockets of Vaughan and Richmond Hill that are not meant for a bidding war and are priced around market value, or as they claim market value, right? My job is to negotiate for the buyer to knock down the price, and my job for the seller is to negotiate to make the buyer overpay, right? But what happens with the cheaper properties further up north, far less central in terms of the north-south centrality that is concerned, what's happening is everything there is for bidding. And what's most likely happening is all the buyers that were priced out of detached properties in Vaughan, Richmond Hill around 1.3, 1.4, are now going all the way up north to Georgina and Simcoe and Barrie. And that's why there's strong demand for detached properties in that area. And the market forces are responding to that strong demand and pricing everything at bidding, and all listings are for bidding. But the point here is whatever complexity there is behind the trend of bidding wars for freehold detached properties, putting that complexity aside, the simple fact of the matter is, yes, bidding wars are truly rampant and successful on a large scale for detached properties right now all over the GTA. So using detached properties as a point of reference and seeing bidding more and more come up when I'm looking into potential listings for buyers. And of course, on the selling side, I always have my eyes on the numbers and the areas and buildings that my clients already live in. So I thought, okay, let me look a little bit deeper to see how the bidding strategy is faring within the Toronto/GTA condo market. Because as I said, we already know within detached properties, it's quite successful. So what did I find? Well, this is what I found. I went through every single listing since September 1st to the date of recording of this video in downtown Toronto, and the date of recording of this video is October 14th. Every single listing for a condominium in downtown Toronto in C1 and C8 to see those listings that decide to go with a bidding war strategy or a multiple offer strategy with an offer date on an offer night, to see how many of those listings actually ended up selling and how many failed to sell. As a general rule of thumb, if the ratio is 1, that means for every single listing on the market that is meant to induce multiple offers and a bidding war and successfully sells, there is another listing that applies the same strategy but fails to sell. That ratio of 1, anything 1 or below is a failure. It means the market for condominiums is not hot enough to justify that strategy. Because at that point, as a seller side, you're taking a 50-50 risk. You're taking a 50-50 risk for you to put your property well below market value and kind of fall flat on your face. And now what you have to do is relist the property around market value or maybe a little above what you would expect, what you probably should have done in the first place to save time. And now you lose some of your leverage. Now, real estate agents who know what they're doing can look in the history and see, oh, you try to sell it at bidding and you failed, means there wasn't a lot of attraction for your property, right? So going through all the listings, which guys, when I tell you I went through every single listing, I'm not exaggerating. I actually went through every single listing because there's no way to search for this. You have to go through every single listing to see if in the description they say an offer night, right? So I went through every single listing in the last month and a half. What I found was there was 58 condominiums for sale, so condominium listings since September 1st to October 14th, the date of recording of this video, that attempt to utilize the bidding war method and failed, meaning they did not get any offers or they got an offer that was a lowball offer. Now, these failed biddings, if you were to put them all on a map within downtown Toronto, you'll see that they're actually quite evenly distributed within C1 and C8, right? With the sole exclusion actually of East Toronto, and I'm talking about East, Dundas East, Queen East, basically anything above the Distillery District to Regent Park to above that. There was only 1 or 2 failed multiple offering attempts in that area. But other than that, there was a voluminous distribution amongst the rest of downtown Toronto. These 59 failed listings were either all terminated, meaning taken off the market, suspended, which is, you know, it's suspension. It's not either taken off the market or available. It's just on a pause. You can think of it like that. Or they had a change in price, meaning once again, they, listed at $499 to hope to bid everyone up to $700 or $600, and they couldn't do it. Then they repriced it at around what they would want anyways, right? And in terms of my methodology, once again, I was careful to be very, very precise about this. I went through every single listing that was for a bidding war, had an offer night, had an offer presentation time, an hour, and expected multiple offers. And then I saw if that exact address, exact unit was either relisted at a higher price or if that listing was terminated, repriced, or suspended. But before we jump to many conclusions, we have to see this is 59 of how many that actually ended up selling. Well, this was around 58, 59 failed bidding attempts out of 166 successful bidding attempts, meaning in the same exact period that all these 58 failed bidding attempts occurred in downtown Toronto, there was 166 successful bidding attempts that occurred. And there's no crossover between the two, right? These 58 are completely separate properties and units than these 166 successful. So in the data, there's no confusion or double entry. That's impossible. And obviously I applied the same exact methodology to this. And if there's any common theme amongst these 166 solds, is that they're all, not all, but for the most part, newer units. And by newer, I don't necessarily even mean 5 years and less, even upwards of 8 years, 9 years. I still consider that newer buildings and units because you're dealing with sometimes buildings and units that are 15 to 20 to 25 years old, right? So all the sold skewed to the younger side. I will probably have to say the average age of all these successful listings for multiple offers that ended up selling is much, much lower than the average age of all the listings for multiple offers and bidding that did not end up selling and ended up failing. And if you recall earlier, I said ideally the ratio should be higher than 1, even higher than 1.25, because if you see for every condominium unit that actually ends up selling at bidding, there's one that fails to end up selling at bidding, then it's not a good strategy to employ. You have 50% shot. Well, here, if my math is correct, which I believe it is, the ratio is not only higher than 1, higher than 2, it's close to 3 at 2.8. But it is nonetheless still lower than what is occurring within the freehold and detached market. The ratio of successful biddings that sell to unsuccessful biddings that do not sell, that ratio is much higher than 2, much higher than 3, much higher than 4. It's quite alarming. I haven't ran through all the numbers there, but from my everyday experience working with detached buyers all over the GTA, I can tell you that that ratio is much higher than the condominium ratio. But anyways, that's Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Remax Realtron and Realty Inc. As always, thank you very much for watching. This is a long video. I've been pumping on a lot of longer videos. I apologize. I'm trying to make it as concise as possible, but sometimes I just end up rambling. Anyways, I appreciate the fact that you watched this video. Feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review. You can find my contact information in the description box. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned. Thank you.